A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant turn of events, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has raised concerns about Russia's sincerity in the ongoing peace negotiations, following Moscow's announcement of sending a delegation to Istanbul for talks on Monday. The Kremlin has yet to provide its negotiating proposals to Ukraine, a crucial demand from Kyiv that remains unfulfilled. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov confirmed that Russia's conditions for a ceasefire would be discussed in Turkey, but Zelensky accused Moscow of obstructing meaningful dialogue, stating, "For a meeting to be meaningful, its agenda must be clear, and the negotiations must be properly prepared." Ukraine has already submitted its proposals, reaffirming its readiness for a full and unconditional ceasefire. The initial round of talks held 2 weeks ago in Istanbul yielded no significant breakthroughs, although it did result in a prisoner swap. The backdrop of these negotiations is the ongoing conflict that erupted when Russian President Vladimir Putin launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Currently, Russia occupies approximately 20% of Ukrainian territory, including Crimea, which it annexed in 2014. As the peace talks approach, both nations reported explosions over the weekend, highlighting the persistent violence in the region. In Ukraine's Kherson region, 3 individuals lost their lives, and 10 others were injured as a result of Russian military strikes targeting critical infrastructure and residential areas. Alexander Prokudin, the head of the military administration in the region, condemned the attacks on social media. Additionally, explosions were reported in the cities of Kharkiv and Izium, causing injuries to at least 1 person. On the Russian side, the acting governor of Kursk, Alexander Kinstein, reported that 7 people were injured in an explosion. These incidents underscore the fragility of the situation as both sides prepare for negotiations. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha reiterated Kyiv's stance, stating that Ukraine had already shared its vision for future steps with Russia and emphasized the necessity of an unconditional ceasefire to facilitate broader negotiations. He expressed hope for the continuation of talks, aiming to end the war by the end of the year. While neither President Putin nor President Zelensky is expected to attend the upcoming discussions, Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan expressed optimism about potentially hosting a high-level summit involving leaders from all parties, including former U.S. President Donald Trump. Peskov indicated that Russia's ceasefire proposals would remain confidential and suggested that a high-level summit could only occur if substantial progress is made during preliminary discussions. He acknowledged comments from Trump's envoy to Ukraine, retired General Keith Kellogg, who characterized Russian concerns over NATO expansion as valid. Kellogg also noted that Ukraine's aspirations to join NATO are currently not on the table. In a separate development, Trump and Putin recently engaged in a 2-hour phone call aimed at discussing a U.S. proposed ceasefire deal. Trump expressed optimism about the conversation, suggesting that negotiations toward a ceasefire would commence immediately. Ukraine has publicly accepted a 30-day ceasefire, but Putin's response has been to propose creating a memorandum on a potential future peace, a move that Kyiv and its European allies view as a tactic to delay while Russian forces consolidate their gains. In a rare public critique, Trump labeled Putin as absolutely crazy in response to Moscow's extensive drone and missile attacks on Ukraine, which have intensified recently. Meanwhile, Germany's new Chancellor Friedrich Merz assured Zelensky that Berlin would assist Kyiv in producing long-range missiles for self-defense against future Russian offensives. The Kremlin has warned that any lifting of range restrictions on weapons supplied to Ukraine could jeopardize the peace process. As the situation unfolds, reports from Donetsk indicate that Russia is gaining an advantage through the use of advanced technology, including fiber-optic drones, complicating Ukraine's defense efforts. The conflict continues to escalate, with both sides remaining entrenched in their positions as the international community watches closely. The stakes are high as the world hopes for a resolution to the violence that has claimed countless lives and displaced millions. The upcoming talks in Istanbul will be crucial in determining the next steps in this protracted conflict, but the recent violence raises questions about the feasibility of achieving a lasting peace. As both nations prepare for negotiations, the question remains, will Russia and Ukraine find common ground? Or will the cycle of violence continue unabated? That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.